So I'm curious, when you think of the film industry as it is now, um, I mean, how do you feel about the future of the industry?
It's in trouble.
In trouble?
It's in trouble. It's in trouble. When I was writing the book before the pandemic, I felt I could say with some confidence that the '50s were the most turbulent time in the history of Hollywood, of American filmmaking. Probably that can't be said anymore. I think we're in the middle of the most challenging time for any number of reasons. Who knows if there'll even be theaters 10 years from now? There was some talk coming out of the pandemic that the theatrical experience was going to be forgotten,
Yeah.
that everything was going to migrate to streaming and at home.
I
And so we're grateful, actually. I'm grateful to Oppenheimer and Barbie. I didn't like them, but I'm grateful to them for bringing people back into the theaters.
touching on some of the struggles that the industry faced last year, I saw this quote in your book, and if you would humor me for a second, I just want to read it back to you because I thought it was crazy to read this, considering what we just went through in the industry. So if you bear with me for a second. Um, the battle over percentages reached a boiling point with Clark Gable, who, before and after Mayer's departure, lobbied for profit sharing. Who is he? He's a nobody, Nicholas Shank exploded. We took Gable from a nobody. We lavished him with lessons in publicity, and now he's the most desired man in the world. We taught him how to walk. Who straightened his teeth and capped them into a smile? We taught this dumb cluck how to depict great emotions, and now he wants a piece of the action? No, never. Actors are waiters, good for delivering the meal. Only a fool would let them in the kitchen. By what right do actors claim to become owners of the property? Did they finance the production? Did they take the risk if there is a loss?
That was
Um,
the, that was the feeling of the old time moguls.
yeah,
They hated agents and they hated giving actors percentages of the film's profits. In 1950, James Stewart's agent arranged for the actor to receive a percentage of the profits rather than get a straight salary. And one of the films in that contract was called Winchester 73, a Western from 1950, which at the time was a huge hit, which means that James Stewart made an unprecedented amount of money from that film, far more than he ever could have gotten on a studio contract. And that opened the floodgates. And people like the studio heads said, here, agents are coming in demanding extraordinary sums for the services of their actors. That chipped away at the studio system. And so then it became not the contract system, but the big stars negotiated per picture and made money based on taking a chance that if the film was a hit, they shared in the profits and it could be huge, far more than they get under a contract salary. It was the beginning of the end of the contract system.
so I thought of that quote, and for a minute, I had this thought of, gosh, how much things have changed. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I thought again, gosh, how much things haven't changed. You had this quote, we want them to go homeless or something before Christmas, and then they'll come begging to us for work. Um, and I guess I just find it interesting how it seems like every 25, 50 years, these cycles kind of repeat, where you see these real tensions flare up with the studios and the actors and the people making the
Well,
movies.
we just suffered through an actor strike,
Of
right? A
course.
prolonged one
Right.
over many of the same issues that we're talking about with the old studio moguls who were very resistant to give actors more than their contractual salaries.
Yeah.
And they felt, people like Mayer and Zanuck felt threatened by the increasing power of the actor to negotiate on a per picture basis. That went to the heart of the old studio system and it chipped away at it. And of course, it's gone.
Yeah.
There are no 7-year contracts anymore.
HBO has this thing where it looks like, or at least back a couple years ago, they would try to keep their own actors. They had groups of actors that they liked picking from and using for their miniseries, for their HBO movies, for their original content.
That's
And that
modeled on the old contract system, like you're
modeled in the own
describing.
system. Do you think that there's any chance of recycling to old ways as the system changes
Probably
now?
not. Probably not. Because once the actors and their agents got a taste of independence and the kind of money that could be made, probably not. But as I was writing the book, I put myself into the position of an actor in the 40s and 50s. Given my own temperament, I would have preferred the protection of a studio and having the security of a 7-year contract
Huh.
rather than going out on my own and negotiating per picture. I would have liked the security of employment and would have probably accepted the lower, less spectacular money scale, because the other is a chance. What if you negotiate a contract percentages on a film that fails? Where's your next job coming from? It was a chance. But the security, and I've talked to people who were under contract to studios. It did afford a sense of security and comfort. They took care of you. Sometimes they chose well. They gave you the parts that you were right for. So I personally would have found the contract system comforting. Somebody with a different temperament, the actors who really wanted to make a killing, we rebelled against that because the studio system did keep you in certain parameters.
Hmm.
It was only so you could go only so far.